Hello, happy Tuesday and welcome to Freedom March. I'm Levan Miller. Thank you so much for joining us. You're listening to us on channel 103.5, The Beat FM, or on channel 224, that's on cable, or 112, that's over there on Flow TV, or perhaps you're listening to us on ILTV Studios on Facebook, wherever you're listening to us, maybe on YouTube. Welcome. Bradley Roll, the spiritual advisor, is with me in studio on this rainy Tuesday. Bradley, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to be here, Levan.
Any soup today, Bradley?
No soup today.
One bunch of sinful women around this place.
It's all right. I mean, they're working.
One bunch of sinful women.
They're working and they don't have the
They
time.
don't make no baby. They can't make no soup, Bradley. I'm beginning to give up on this.
No, man. Don't give up. We have a lot of good women.
What could I hold on to, Bradley?
We have a lot of good women in this country, man.
Mama them was making baby, picking the peas, I'm making the soup. They pick any peas today?
Mama them didn't have the hard economic times that the women them face today.
What you talking about? Mama them was
work.
making swinge cat. So the problem is these women them want to eat what you call the thing, right? Mama was eating swinge cat with hot cream tea in a Manila cup, and we was happy. Everybody had 5 baby. When it rained, everybody had soup. But on a day like today, I ain't have no soup and they ain't make no baby today. Isn't that fantastic? How did we get here, Bradley?
We all right.
You sure?
We good, yeah, man.
Someone could sneak you some soup.
We got some good women out there, man. We got some good women.
Slick. I could always tell when
yes,
the spiritual advisor.
6 o'clock. I am
boy.
invited to a huge smash down.
Really?
So, they want you to come.
They want me to
yes,
come.
Yes, they send me no invitation. Now you can get your soup.
They sent me an invitation?
Yeah, sorry, you got to go. Leave on, yes.
Yeah. You know, I only like to go places. This is a fun fact about me. I only like to go places where I get invited to. That way, nobody could ask me to leave.
So you ready for soup?
Yeah.
You'll get some soup.
Yeah.
I just hope after you get the soup, you don't be saying, married.
Well, this sound like this Bama soup. What kind of soup this is? Boy. Anyway, so it's been a rainy Tuesday in and around Nassau, and if you're moving out and about there, we ask you to stay as safe as possible. And do me a favor, like, stop pressing your brakes the whole time. I don't understand the correlation between Bahamians, the rain, and the need to impulsively press the brakes so much. That I could never figure that. I don't understand what is it about precipitation that causes Bahamians to just, I don't know, lose their ability to coordinate. Anyway, you had the jingle, don't go anywhere. I'm Levan Miller. Bradley Roll is in studio with me. We're on 103.5 The Beat FM. This is Freedom March. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you so much for staying with us through the break. I'm Leland Miller. Bradley Roll, the spiritual advisor, is with me in studio. And Bradley, we have Holy Scripture today.
Yeah, we do.
Well, let's tell us what
we
Holy
got a
Scripture
reading today from the book of John. I think it's chapter 10. A few short verses, 20 to 33. It's a conflict over Jesus' claims, but he clears it up for them. Then came the festival of dedication at Jerusalem, and it was winter. And Jesus was in the temple courts walking in Solomon's colonnade. And the Jews who were there gathered around him, saying, "How long will you keep us in suspense? If you are the Messiah, tell us plainly." And Jesus answered, "I tell you, but you did not believe. I did tell you, sorry, but you did not believe. The works I do in my Father's name testify about me, but you did not believe because you are not my sheep. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hand. My Father has given them to me is greater than all. No one can snatch them out of my Father's hand." And again, I and my Father are one. I and the Father are one. So again, his Jewish opponents picked up stones to stone him. But Jesus said to them, "I have shown you many good works from the Father. For which of these do you stone me?" "We are not stoning you for any good work," they replied, "but for blasphemy, because you, a mere man, claim to be God." John 10, 22 to 33. Verse number 33 says, "We are not stoning you for any good work," they replied, "but for blasphemy, because you, a mere man, claim to be God." Verse number 33 is where I end. The word of God is forever and ever blessed. John 10, 22 to 23, read from the NIV. Thank you, producer. Back to you.
Thank you very much, spiritual advisor. Well, I see that there's been an interesting happening over the weekend. You would recall, I think sometime in January of this year, maybe, there was a prophetic utterance by a young firebrand preacher by the name of Rakeno Monka, who, according to him, in a word from the Lord, said or suggested that there was a heaviness over the town and that the Bahamian people just weren't being treated right by those in power, and that, there needed to be a shifting of some sort, and that those with power and political influence, etc., needed to do right by the people, and that the Bahamians had to equally participate and not continue to allow themselves to be sold out, etc., etc. And I'm going to play it because in his pronouncement at some point, I'm not going to play the whole clip, he says, "I don't care if you share it on social media." So that means he don't care if I play it, yeah? But I'd like to take our focus back to that. Let's hear what the young firebrand has to say, and then we'll flesh that out, and then we'll go on with more of what happened in this week. Take us to the clip from Pastor Rakeno Monka, who happens to be the pastor of Revolution Church.
We need to see a move in our country. I want y'all to know, and I won't say much about it until God release me, but I am not happy in this country. Something is not right in the atmosphere. There's a weight and a weariness and a heaviness that I'm feeling in the atmosphere. I was away all last week and I was on a high. When I got into the atmosphere of the Bahamas, I am not a person who struggled with depression, but this weight came on me, and I started to feel the man. And then the Lord saying to me, He said, "You feeling what my people are feeling? There's a wrestling, there's a warring going on, and there's something wrong in the atmosphere. And all of our leaders who have covenanted with demons and devils, I break the covenant, or I move you out of office in the name of Jesus. But Jesus Christ will reign and rule over this nation, because when the righteous rule, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people mourn." And just need to wake the hell up because you're letting people sell you all out. And, oh God. Your life should be better in this country. Your life should be more progressive in this country. Your life should be more productive in this country. But we are not building a nation for progress. We building a nation for cronies and sweethearts and, oh God. Now, if y'all want to put me on social media, y'all go ahead and do it. But y'all gonna get right or get left. Because y'all gonna see that the God that answers by fire, let him be God. And Jezebel, you can come for me, but you will not live. This David will swing his stone and slay every Goliath, and every principality will come down. You will not reign in this country. Our children will not suffer. Our young people will have the life they're supposed to have. They will have the opportunities they're supposed to have. You spirit of pride and arrogance, I cast you down and cast you out. We ain't afraid of you. We ain't scared of you. Do I have any bold warriors in here? The righteous are as bold as a lion. And what you think don't matter.
And so that was Pastor Ricky Nwanka, the pastor of Revolution Church, again, sometime earlier in this year, with a proclamation from above. And it seems as though the congregation heard the proclamation and accepted it, spiritual advisor, as exactly that, a word from God through the mouth of his prophet. Interestingly enough, though, I noticed that the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas visited that same congregation this Sunday.
Oh, really?
And here's what the Prime Minister had to say.
Interesting.
Let me speak plainly now. I want all who are here listening today, tell them what Brave say. Under my administration, we will not under any circumstance accept a Bahamas where Bahamians are made to feel like strangers in their own country. I want to make that crystal clear. It is not acceptable to me that any qualified Bahamian should be sidelined for a job they are more than capable of doing. It is not acceptable that some employers continue to ignore local talent, acting as though Bahamians are somehow less competent or less deserving. I have personally directed the cancellation of work permits in cases where Bahamians were being unfairly bypassed or treated unfairly. We don't talk it, but we're doing what we have to do. But I thought I'd let you know this morning. We have strengthened our policies to ensure that Bahamians, our sons and our daughters, are prioritized for the jobs that belong to them. We are not begging for opportunity in our own land. We are demanding fairness. We are proud people, a capable people, and a Dawkins. And I will not bend on this point. To every young person who has studied, trained, and worked hard to contribute to this country, know this, that I see you, I value you, and I'm fighting for you. And just to be clear, this is not about foreign versus local. It's about justice. It's about making sure the promises of our independence means something in the daily lives of our working Bahamians. We will welcome the world to our shores, but never at the expense of our own people. This is our Bahamas, and we have one chance to get it right. And let me say this to anyone who feels like they are being mistreated on the job. If you are Bahamian and you're being treated unfairly, call your union. call the Department of Labor. And if that doesn't work, call me. Because I will sit by, I'll never ever sit by and let our people be disrespected. You're not alone, and I'll stand with you. Before I take my seat, I wish to say something else. Something that may not be easy to hear, but needs to be said. We are one country, one Bahamas. We cannot allow politics, PLP or F&M, to divide us. In our homes, in our churches, in our workplaces, we cannot allow that to happen when so much is at stake. I know the temptation. I've seen the damage. And I've lived through the consequences myself. But the truth is, we have more in common than we sometimes admit. We all want a safe Bahamas. We all want safe communities. We want good jobs, fair wages, a decent life for our children. We want to experience the joys of human love. That's not a party issue. That's a people issue. So friends, just do me a favor. Just look at the person next to you. Forget who they voted for. Forget what color they wear on election day. Just see them for who they really are. Your brother, your sister, your fellow Bahamian. You know, they hurt like you. They work like you work. They love their children like you love yours. We can't let political labels come between us and what I call our shared humanity. Not now and should never. We need to start appealing to the better angels of our nature. We must find the strength to choose country over party, people over politics, unity over division. We have a choice before us. We can choose a Bahamas where we love each other, or a Bahamas where we build walls between.
And so, in my estimation, the prophet has proclaimed a word from the Lord. And he says there is a heaviness over this country, and the spirit of depression is taking over this country, and the Lord has said to him that that is what the people feel. And that there were people in public offices that had sold themselves out to principalities, and as a consequence, he wanted to tear those things down in the spirit. A couple of months later, the prime minister shows up, and in my estimation again, and I'm not saying that the prophet didn't hear from God. I don't ever get into where the prophets hear from God or not, because I imagine that's something them and God will take up at some other point. The point I hope to make here is the prime minister presents himself before the prophet and directly responds to the utterances from the prophet or by the prophet from God. And he says, quite plainly, let me speak plain. The prophet say, God say. Now let me tell you what Brave has to say in response to what the prophet had to say. And so now I know from my upbringing, and if the Bible is still the same what I've read, that the sword of righteousness is one that cuts. But what else is it, spiritual advisor? It is one that heals.
I'm trying to soak this in.
It is one that heals. And so my question is now...
Why would the prime minister go there?
The prime minister is a citizen of the Bahamas, isn't he? Is the prime minister a citizen of the Bahamas? Is the prime minister of the Bahamas a citizen of the Bahamas?
He goes to the pulpit.
Is this a place of worship?
It's a public place.
Is the prime minister not allowed to go to places of worship?
Place.
And if the prime minister appears, I suspect they will permit.
Let me ask a question.
That
That was a Sunday morning?
As far as this timestamp suggests.
Okay, well, see if you can confirm that.
Well, what it was a packed studio.
Was that a church service?
It was.
It was a church service.
It was.
It was a Sunday morning.
Again, according to my timestamp, yes.
Now you have to find it before I make comments, because I have to make some first century comments about politics and religion.
Well, if the Prime Minister is invited to your church, I don't suspect you intend to invite the Prime Minister to your church and wouldn't allow him to speak.
Well, I can tell you that on the first day of the week, the Christians are a priority. And that's Jesus first.
Sure.
So if you remember Christ and what he did for us, and we go to worship on the first day of the week,
Sure.
we don't deal with politics on the first day of the
But
week.
that was in politics. The Prime Minister spoke about unity.
It was in politics.
The Prime Minister spoke about building a nation together and collectivism.
It was in politics.
No, the Prime Minister
So
spoke
what drew
about...
him? What drew him to that church?
The Prime Minister is Christian. Is his faith not Christian?
Hold on. When you started first, you said
that the prophet
right.
heard from God, and these were the concerns God had that he conveyed to the prophet.
And there were some concerns that the people had.
Which people? The prophet had these concerns.
Right. And he
prophet
said that the
say-
people were not living like they should in their country.
He said that people in the country were suffering, that
Right.
there was a weight in the atmosphere, that man, you asked me to record 3 minutes of what the prophet had to say now. And all I'm saying to you now is I am now wondering if God will come back to the prophet, like he did with the prophet Elijah. You remember when the prophet Elijah went up on the hill to the prophets of Baal? That was quite a contentious situation, wasn't it?
So,
The spiritual advisor in answer.
do you believe what the preacher said?
I don't question whether preachers hear from God.
No. I'm not talking about that. The content
Yes.
of what he said. Do you believe?
If I believe people are living under a cloud, I don't. I don't believe. I think.
And people are not suffering in this country, right?
I think when I look around this country, I look at the sailaways, I look at the poker runs, I look at the stranded nakeds, I look at the as a matter of fact, I just told you I came from a Lutheran on the weekend, and people there were having an absolute jolly.
Right. So you don't believe what the preacher said.
Listen,
You don't accept his message.
Is it what I see? No.
Right. So you don't believe what he said then?
No. But if the preacher, if the oracle of God says to me that this is the voice of God, then I accept that. Because I wasn't there when God called him to be a preacher. So if I accept the fact that God called him to be a preacher, then that means I accept any other thing he tells me God
So
says.
you accept the content of his message then?
I accept the content of his message. Is that what I believe? No, it's not. Anyway, that's the jingle. We go on to the break. I can wrestle with this spiritual advisor. Let me get back. Because it's not politics. The Prime Minister talked about social...
It's not politics?
Oh, boy. Anyway, don't move. Freedom March is right back after this break.
This segment of Freedom March is brought to you by Modernistic Garden and Pet Supply. For top quality dog food, shop online at modernisticgarden.com or visit our Palmdale, Carmichael, and Mullet Marathon locations today.
Welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you so much for staying with us through the break. Spiritual advisor, you want to get to this out?
Are your dogs hungry and tired of low-quality food? Give them the best at Modernistic. We carry all the top brands. Taste of the Wild, Diamond Naturals, Victor, and Luxury at the lowest prices in town. On a budget, we've got 50-pound bags starting at just $49. And for limited time, buy any large bag of dog food and get a $10 coupon redeemable on select dog toys and treats. If you can't make it in, shop online at www.modernisticgarden.com and we'll deliver right to your door. Your pet deserves quality, your wallet deserves savings. Shop in store or shop online today. Hurry, offer won't last. Thank you, producer.
Thank you very much, spiritual advisor. Let me say this while this is in my mind. I think I figured out the problem that people are complaining about. I've listened to you read this out 1,000 times and it just hit me. Everybody continues to ask about the $10 off. The $10 off isn't on the dog food. You buy the dog food, and if you want to buy your pet a toy or a supply, after you buy the dog food, they'll give you
$10 coupon.
Precisely. But if you don't want to buy no toy, you just carry your dog food in Jesus' name.
Select dog toys and treats.
Yeah. So there you have it. So stop stopping me in the road about this ad, because the ad sounds correct now that I've thought about it. All right? So back to where we were, spiritual advisor. So I only want to know, do you remember the story of the prophets of Baal?
Well, I'll have to go back and check it.
How come you don't remember? How come you only remember the Bible while you read it?
Let me tell you the thing about me. When I give information, I want to be correct.
That's fine.
So I have to go back to the story, look at the details of the story.
Give me your phone number.
814-6096.
You see how that come from your recall?
Yeah.
So how do you mean you can't give me information that is correct from your recollection?
No, that is different.
How?
See, that's one of the reasons why
Thy word, O Lord, have I hid in my heart that I may not sin
But
against
I don't
thee.
remember everything.
Oh,
I have to go back and reference. So I'll have to go back to the story, read it, try to comprehend it properly before I spill anything out. Because one thing I don't want to do, see, I'm not like the politicians. I don't mislead people.
Neither am I.
All right? I like to give people correct information.
So the prophets of Baal.
So I'll go back to the story.
Went up on the hill. What was it? Horeb with Elijah, right? And Elijah talked about their Baal and how he wasn't a real God. And he asked them, why y'all worshiping Baal? And they said, what you mean why you worshiping Baal? We have to worship Baal. Baal give us fruit. Baal give us meal. And Elijah said, this is foolishness. I've never heard such fool. He said, tell you what, let's build 2 altars. And y'all call Baal, and I can call God. And whoever answer by fire, we let that God be God. And the prophets of Baal say, you know what, bet, let's do it, right? And they call Baal, I think the Bible say from the morn until the late evening.
You see, now you don't even remember.
Right? I telling you the story. So they say, the prophets call on Baal, oh, Baal, come now, Baal, and they do the little Baal dance and all kind of things. Baal never come. Elijah going back and say, y'all should probably call a little louder. Baal probably gonna hear y'all. They gone at it again. Baal, come Baal. No Baal. So Elijah then goes and tells them, say, listen, that's enough of that. I tired here and you all call for Baal. You see this altar I built? Wet this up. Put water on it. Put more water over the whole thing. And the prophets of Baal gone and they fetch water and they wet up Elijah's altar. This way Elijah gets scared.
1 Kings chapter 18.
Yeah, 19. Because Elijah then turned around. It may be 18. The part with Baal them is in 18, because 19 is when he went hiding in the wilderness. And so, you see how I got the word hide in my heart? And so...
You got some of it. You ain't got all. Because you're still say some unsaved things when you get ready.
And so, after Baal, the prophets of Baal called Baal, and Baal must he was on vacation, Elijah said, you know something? Wet up my altar. They wet up the altar. Now Elijah realized he overspoke himself, because God didn't tell him that piece. So he gone in the corner and he pray and he say, now God, you hear me out here talking foolishness for Baal all morning, and you know these fellas could kill me on this hill if you don't show up. So I don't know what you're doing. You might be a little busy, but this ain't one day to be busy. So Elijah gone to the prophet and he say, answer now by fire. And the Bible says that the fire came down and consumed the water first. And when all the water was dry up, then it consumed the altar. And if I'm mistaken, I think it say, and then it consumed Baal altar. Yeah? And So after that, Elijah gets sad. This is chapter 19. Going into the wilderness.
He
to see
flees
the
to
side.
Horeb.
Huh? On the Mount of Horeb, yes? Yeah, I tell you, I know the Bible. And they go and he's sad. He say, oh God, I'm so sad. The people who just worship Baal really can come kill me now. And the voice of God shows back up to the prophet Elijah to confirm.
The prophet Elijah.
What I say?
Go ahead.
And to confirm that what he had done was in accordance and in alignment with God. And so I'm saying, Pastor Kina Monka has had a proclamation that is, according to him, an utterance from God. And the Prime Minister appears to what I now know to be a Labor Day service, which he was invited to.
Right, so this was recent?
This was Sunday.
Okay.
And the Prime Minister on his feet spoke as he was invited. But he didn't say, vote for the PLP. The PLP is the best way to go. We is the party. No, because that would be politics. What he said was, let me tell you what Brave have to say, and let me say it plainly. I will not tolerate inappropriate working conditions in this country. Here's the one thing I actually disagreed with him saying, that I have myself personally canceled work permits. Now, I'm not interested in the Prime Minister doing that kind of stuff because I think every minister is a prince in his ministry. Right? And I would hate to think that someone could call the Prime Minister and have the Prime Minister overrule an application made through the process to the minister that the minister sanctions and the Prime Minister overturns it. Hopefully he at some point opens that up a little bit more for me personally. But if there's anything that has aggrieved me in his entire speech, it was that. I thought the speech was beautiful. And the Prime Minister called for things like unity. If I'd let it play it on a little longer, I don't want the people to fall asleep. Because, the Prime Minister does talk in a lulling tone. He talked about the resilience that we find in Hurricane Dorian and how we're prepared to share our last bottle of water with one another and how we all want human love. That also makes me chuckle. And how we want safer communities and how these aren't things that politics should separate us on. So how say you, spiritual advisor?
Man, come on, man. You know this.
That it is political.
What you think it is? Listen. Politicians understand the influence that preachers have on the minds of voters. All right? So in a very masterful way, the Prime Minister, and I must applaud him, because he, in a very masterful way, went in there and was able to convince that entire congregation, basically, that he was the man to vote for.
But he never said that.
He didn't have to say it.
But how are you deducing this?
He's a Prime Minister.
Yes, who has been invited
of
to
the
speak.
country, the Bahamas. And he leads the Progressive Liberal Party. Who else do you think he want them to vote for? Man,
But he's never agitated that. The Prime Minister said...
You don't have to.
And I will tell you this. Can I tell you what else
You
I
don't
disagree
have
with?
to.
Can I tell you what else I disagree with? I traveled to Luther on the weekend, right?
It was a masterful speech, and it was masterful manipulation, if you ask me.
Wow. And that's what you consider it?
Because what it's going to do is going to satisfy the hearts and the minds of the congregation citizens.
But what happened to the utterance
This
of the
is
prophet?
the way to go.
What happened? The prophet made a proclamation.
And the Prime Minister basically in his speech did some serious damage control.
But this is
It
6
is
months
what it
later.
is.
6 months later, the Prime Minister appears on an invitation and says...
It's never too late.
And so all I want to know...
It's never too late.
All I want to know now is, has the job of the prophet been done? It is like the prophet Elijah. Is God going to come now? Well, I think the prophet... Tell me what the book say, 19. I think they say God shall come up by lightning and that didn't wake up the prophet. And then God come by fire and that didn't wake up the prophet. And then in a still small voice, I think that's what Kings 19 say, right? Bring your Bible. What kind of spiritual advisor is
I
this?
put it up.
Oh boy, you can't put up your sword.
I don't like this analogy we're using.
All I want to know is, will God now come back to the prophet and say to the prophet, well done? That's all I want to know. Because what is the purpose of prophetic proclamation?
I don't know.
If it changes
I doubt
nothing?
it, but I don't know.
And what I also know, like I said, the sword of righteousness. You know, they say you have to have the shield of faith, the breastplate of righteousness, and the sword of the word, or something like that. But I know that the sword piece is, the sword is to cut on one side and to heal on the next side. Isn't that the way the sword of the spirit works?
Mixing politics and religion. It's amazing.
Boy.
It was great, though. I mean, wow.
So here's the other thing I disagreed with the Prime Minister on.
That's interesting.
This whole notion that if somehow your employer does something to you, blah, 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 you should call your union or call your representative, or if that don't work, call him, right? Mr. Prime Minister, humbly, sir, I say to you, in a suggestion, not an utterance or a proclamation from God, that while you are certainly going in the right direction with ensuring that laborers are not belittled or not overpowered by special forces or not any of those things in your country, for as long as you hold the helm, you have a fiduciary duty to ensure that what I saw this weekend in Eleuthera when I went to Stone Oaks thing, their corporate mix and mingle, doesn't continue to replicate itself. I went to the Eleuthera, the Governor's Harbor Airport. Wonderful, wonderful, majestically clean edifice, yeah? I mean, wonderful tiling, amazing. It smelled like heaven when I went in there, right? And then I got the urge to go and check out the restroom because, you know, I manage restrooms at some point in my life, maybe in another incarnation. And so here's what I found in the bathroom at the Governor's Harbor Airport. Take us to the clip. Love Beaming. You gotta absolutely love Beaming contractors. Wonderful wall-to-wall tiles, wonderful fluorescent light, an exhaust fan, of course, that would do no work. A nice floating countertop. Even if you put a spacer between that, beloved, this one to the wall could be too tight with a spacer. But exactly how yours supposed to. Boy, this toilet should have been here. So when you put the divider in here, you could actually put the face bowl in the middle of them. It wouldn't make a difference. But this toilet, when you put a divider here, this toilet could be too tight. Maybe not. Maybe if you put the divider about here, you might get away with it. But maybe you ought to could hold hands and use these. Ah, boy, good old Bahamian contractors. The Prime Minister must encourage Bahamians in the labor force not to continue to do this kind of nonsense.
What happened to the building inspectors?
The Prime Minister, just the way he encourages employers to not act in a way that is unfair and unjust, and just how God could tell the prophet that the powers that be should be treating them fairly. I want the prophet to go back into his closet because I hope that at some point, whether it is the voice of God or the voice of the Prime Minister, someone says to Bahamian contractors that they've got to cut the skullduggery out.
Where's that in here?
You ain't listen to me. I've been to Stone Oak. It was on the weekend. They had the mix and mingle.
Huh? Where's Stone Oak? Stone
Oak is the people who put on the corporate mix and mingle. I just said this to you yesterday, spiritual advisor.
Stone Oak is mix and mingle. Don't forget now, I don't mix and mingle like that, so.
Spiritual advisor. On the weekend, I traveled to
oh, you been to Eleuthera? Yeah.
On my travels in Eleuthera, right, I went to the Stone Oak Mix and Mingle.
Right.
The corporate Mix and Mingle.
I'm on radio and TV. Call me back.
On my way out, tell the whisperer them, stop trying to whisper to you. This is why you don't remember nothing I say. You too busy talking to the whisperer them.
They don't understand, yeah. Anyhow, go ahead.
On my way out of Eleuthera, I had the desire to just, check out the edifice that is the airport, right? Because on the way into Eleuthera, you really have no interaction with the airport. You walk through the little door, the fella bring you your bag.
Right.
But while I was there waiting on my flight, I moseyed around the airport a little bit to check it out. And I discovered this bathroom that is obviously newly renovated. Take the audio out if you could for me, producer, and show it. And there you see a restroom that obviously is supposed to be a 2-toilet restroom.
Wow. Why did
but this restroom
it isn't finished though. It doesn't seem finished.
I want you to stop it.
Producer, it isn't finished. I saw some open. See right there? See those holes?
Hold on, could you go to the opening and freeze it? Stop it right there. You can stop it right there.
They ain't finished, man. They ain't finished yet.
What doors opening are electrical boxes?
Right, so they ain't finished. They ain't finished yet. Come on, man.
What is the purpose of the electrical box over the toilet? That for the phone charging?
No, I think there may be automatic flush. When you stand up in the front of it,
They can't be automatic flush because
there'll be a
there's a
sensor.
manual flush top on the top of it.
Okay, so what are those openings for?
Must be for the electrical outlet so you can have somewhere to plug your phone in while you're on the toilet, while you and your bestie hold
But that don't
hands.
make no sense. That thing is open.
That's my point.
That don't make no sense.
But even if they try to build a divider wall, the toilet to the left-hand side of the wall is so tight on the wall.
They possibly could, though.
Impossible.
If you put it right in between the two of them, yeah.
The question
You can
is,
sit
why
down.
would they have not just put the other toilet where the floating, what you call that thing, face bowl is, and at least you could have built a divider
Let's
wall.
look at
on both.
divide them, though.
How if this toilet on the wall?
All you have to do is put one in the middle and one on the other end. See? Yeah.
And
One-
where the handicapped people supposed to go to use the toilet?
Yeah, they can still, yeah, you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
So
They
dear
can
Mr.
still- they
Prime
can still
Minister,
do it.
come back to me, or Mr. Prophet, Rakino. Just how God and the Prime Minister wants to protect the workers in this country. Just how God doesn't want for the people in political power to abuse the workers of this country. And just how the Prime Minister doesn't want the employers to abuse the workers in this country, I am inviting either one of you, Mr. Prime Minister, go to your speechwriter, Prophet, go back to God, and find out what is the next utterance from either God or the speechwriter for how to get Bahamian people to stop doing jackleg work.
You don't need God for that.
What I
They,
said?
they have...
Either the prophet need to go back to God and find out if there's another word, because he landed the plane with that one for the Prime Minister. But how could you say you oppressing people that trying to get away with that? How are you saying? Look at it, just look at it.
Yeah, that's a simple problem, though.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's a simple problem.
And you know what? I tell you yesterday, I listened to one in every 1200th thing C. Alan Johnson says. I listened to one in
Yeah,
every
the Bible go right in the
1300th
middle
thing
there.
that Granville McCartney ever says, right? And you know the one thing Granville McCartney say that I agree with? We've got to sweat the small stuff. Where will handicapped people use the bathroom in there? How? How will they do it?
I honestly believe that facility is not completed. I don't think it's complete.
Ah, boy. Anyway, so I wish or I hope to see in the future. I can't tell the prophet when or what to hear. But I mean, I thought the Prime Minister's response yesterday addressed every single one of the issues the prophet said he had earlier in the year. And so all I wanted to know is, I'm a church boy, so I like to examine how these things happen in the scripture. And the one time that I could find that it happened was Elijah. The one thing I wanted to know is, will the voice of God come back to the prophet now and tell the prophet whether or not the Prime Minister is in fact a contrite man, and whether or not the Prime Minister is in fact working along with his colleagues to eliminate or eradicate the concerns the prophet says God put in his heart. Is that reasonable?
We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, I agree.
We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so let's move on. So I see Lincoln Bain is inside the news. The Prime Minister and the Cabinet of the Bahamas approved in their budget, what is it, $20 million for the upgrade of Pinewood Gardens? Let's go to that clip and see what it has to say.
Well, in other news tonight, the Davis administration seemingly putting its foot down on an issue that continues to affect residents in a local community that has been prone to flooding for decades. This as millions of dollars are being set aside to correct this vexing problem. And residents say it's timely, even as the hurricane season gives them a grim reminder of the issues they continue to battle. Our Jose Etienne has the details in this report.
A $20 million allocation for a road remediation and drainage infrastructure project to address flooding woes in Pinewood Gardens has fed up residents cautiously optimistic. They say the long-standing issue has been tossed around by previous administrations. During inclement weather, videos would surface on social media, capturing immense flooding in the area and the aftermath, stalled vehicles and home repairs that cost owners thousands of dollars. The $20 million is the first chunk that's being dispersed for a critical project that could cost around $100 million. And this woman, who's been a resident in that community for 3 decades, says officials need to get the ball rolling.
Very bad, because my house has 3 to 4 feet of water in the house. They dry, got canoes and things around here. That's how much water's be around here. So it's really bad. We really need that in this area.
She's calling for less talk and more action on an issue that she says costs her an exorbitant amount of money.
In the house, I just got it. I'm resumed, get it full up and build up and tile over.
Mr. Williams, another Pinewood Gardens resident for about 30 years, also describing how the flooding issue leaves residents paralyzed.
Being on the hill doesn't change the fact that the flooded areas I have to get out and in and out of the flooded areas. And so in those periods, sometimes you can't move.
On the flip side, though, Coalition of Independence leader Lincoln Bain, a former Pinewood Gardens resident who sought political representation for the area, is accusing officials of using the allocation as an election ploy.
We also disappointed at the fact that you would wait until right before election, months before election, to do something like this, and then announce that it may take 3 years to get completed, which means that you've already stating that you have failed because you're not going to finish this before election.
Part of this discussion has often been what's needed to effectively address the flooding woes. Residents have often called for proper drainage infrastructure, but Mr. Williams isn't so sure that's the long-term solution.
I don't think that's our problem. I think our problem is greater than that. Our problem is the fact that we're so low lined that we get saturated every time there's rain.
In fact, here's what Bain says needs to be done.
What they need is a proper drainage system that's going to pump the water to a holding station that is a big reservoir, and then later able to pump the water out to sea or out to the canals. That is the only thing that is acceptable.
This comes as the Davis administration presented its 2025-2026 budget detailing this project and how it will be spread over 3 years. It is estimated that $50 million in funding will be needed in the 2026-2027 fiscal year, and $30 million will be needed in the 2027-2028 fiscal year.
Spiritual advisor, you hear that the government is committing $20 million
I'm very suspicious of this.
Pinewood. Why? What is your suspicion?
Well, okay, Lincoln Bain said it all. I'm not
What did Lincoln Bain
any
say?
COI representative or
Are you
support.
FNA?
No.
Okay.
But the question you must ask yourself is that we're less than a year out from election.
By whose math?
If the election's going to be next year, May, we're in June.
Well, that's if you listen into my prediction. But if
Anyhow, so your prediction is wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
No. But
it's
if,
amazing, eh?
Hold on.
I say
Hold
less.
on.
Hey, you
Hold
know.
on. If we go by my
Hold on.
prediction,
Let me
the
tell you something.
election is less than
Let me say this to you. In this world we live in now, listen to me, Levan.
Yeah.
There is no more room for hypocrisy, okay?
I'm not
Please,
being
man.
a hypocrite.
This world is just too full of it.
Listen to me. If we go,
All right? We're less than a year away from election. Why now? Why are we addressing
But that argument makes no sense. Let me tell you why. The Prime Minister has not called a date for election, has he?
Wow.
Has the Prime Minister called a date for election? The answer to that is no.
And it's not going to be this year, right?
Well, I don't know. It could be tomorrow.
Now you're saying you don't know.
I tell you.
Then you've rejected everybody who says it could be this year, September, October, November. You say no, it can't be. You say the election is next year, May.
That's what I say.
Right. So we're less than a year out.
If you go by my prediction. But the Prime Minister has until the 21st of August to call the election. And if you go by the clause in the law, he has 90 days. So he could go 90 days past
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the election isn't a year away based on the electoral cycle. You agree?
It's amazing.
I asked him a question.
You just jumped to this now.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Anyway, and all I'm saying to you is when I listen to Lincoln Bain's thesis about how to fix the flooding, I laugh because it sounds like a lot of the things I hear from them, cut and paste, right? And they don't do error checking, obviously, which I proved today. Put up the flyer. Because I tell you this, there are fundamental things. You can't get your name right. Your name in itself isn't right. You cannot be a coalition and independent. That makes no sense. But as I proved to you, right, when you don't pay attention to the small things, you are putting out official party content with grammatical errors in it, right? Because here you say, Fred Mitchell, don't think for once that our doom and gloom tactics will work to get the PLP a second TEEM. Take it down. All I'm saying to you is when you do not put effort into being meticulous, spiritual advisor, now, you may go on my written pieces and find grammatical errors. I'm not saying I'm above a grammatical error. I'm saying that if you want to compete to lead a country and take it away from mediocrity and take it away from the parties that you claim have failed, you have to be flawless. So you cannot have cut and paste arguments. And all I'm saying is this whole, what we need is a reservoir that you could pump the water to, sounds like a cut and paste idea. I know, because I was the first one that said that we should just pump the water. And I remember there was a time when Lincoln Bain disagreed with that position. I'm not saying he isn't allowed to change his mind. I'm saying that obviously he's found a second part that he could paste in there. The difficulty for me, though, is Pinewood Gardens already has a sewer system. Don't they? Why would we just not pump this water toward the sewer? What to don't do is to spend $20 million and not call a plumber that know how to fix plumbing. Because if it's a water problem, you need a plumber. And we already had a plumber that fixed the Western Esplanade. We had one that fixed the Arawak Key. And if we go back to that same plumber, at least he looked like he could fix the problem. Don't go anywhere. Freedom March is coming back. Welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you so much for staying with us through the break. I'm Levin Miller. You're listening to us on 103.5 FM The Beat, or on channel 224, or on channel 112, whether that's on cable or flow, or on ILTV Studios, or on Facebook. Hello, Redhead. I hear you listening. And you want to do birthdays now, or you want me to?
Yeah, we do the birthdays.
So don't finish Queso Lincoln Ben.
If you got a beef with Lincoln Ben,
I have no beef. This ain't personal.
No, it's part of
It's never personal.
Next question: did you ever try to run in South Beach and Pirate before?
That's what the whisperer tell you.
Where you try to run?
I asked you if that's what the whisperer tell you.
Yeah, they told me that.
I keep telling you, y'all gotta get y'all information
Under
right.
DNA.
Under the DNA, I would never have ran for the DNA.
Okay.
If you remember, I was the one that said, hold on, let me finish. If you recall, I am the one that said that the DNA is like an unerected penis in a brothel. It is no good to no one anywhere near it. Why would I be a part of that?
So you ran as an independent then?
I ran as an independent.
In what constituency?
In the constituency of North Pinewood.
South Beach?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And
how did that work out?
Well, I didn't win. I ran against the venerable Deacon Jeffrey Lloyd and the trade unionist Cleola Hamilton.
Okay. Cleola was the PLP rep.
Yeah. Both people that had spent 30 years minimum in public life prior to my running. At the time,
so
I was only 30 years old.
You were like a David going up against the
Naturally.
Goliaths.
And the two political parties, along with the fledgling DNA, contested that election because I also ran against Randy Butler. And here's the thing. I didn't get 0 votes in any polling division.
You got a couple of votes?
In every polling division.
You got your money back?
I didn't need my money back. It was a protest.
Okay.
The problem was Hurricane Matthew destroyed South Beach. Howard Johnson defected as the candidate, right? And Hubert Minnis, like this flat-footed pussyfooting the FNM is doing now, opted not to send a candidate in South Beach because they didn't want to have to deal with the rebuilding of the constituency while they were in opposition. The Progressive Liberal Party was gritting their teeth about having to send Cleola Hamilton. And so, because I nominated October of 2016, and up to that point, no candidate had nominated for South Beach. Here is something you could go and check. There isn't a party in 50 years that has sat in the Parliament of the Bahamas void of the seat of South Beach. And so my question was, how did the two major political parties have candidates almost ratified in every constituency except for the one constituency you can't get in the Parliament without? And so, as a protest, you make sure the whisperer write this down, I self-nominated. And I ran an active campaign. And I had ads on the TV, and I did radio interviews, and I did social media follow-ups, etc. 2016, as a 30-year-old man, against the venerable Deacon Jeffrey Lloyd and Cleola Hamilton, the Nurses Union president.
Okay.
And the fledgling DNA with then popular Sky Bahamas co-owner Randy Butler.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't play around, man.
There you have it. That's the history.
I don't play around. And when I ran against them, they thought I would get no votes. That didn't happen. And there aren't very many independent candidates that have contested against three parties.
There were no 0
I don't
votes?
even think Whitney Bastian contests against 3 parties as an independent.
Okay. So you got votes in every constituency?
In every polling division.
So Darrell Miller didn't say, Levon Miller,
It never happened. There is no
0
clip.
votes.
If that clip existed
0
by now,
votes.
you don't think one of the minions in that little party that's saving grass on the park would have done pull that? Behave yourself.
You'll find out, because I
Behave
like to
yourself.
hear Darrell say that.
And if they show it to you,
Levon Miller, polling division number 9,
and if they show it to you,
0 votes.
Spiritual advisor,
0.
If they show it to you, I will roll up the FNA and go back and be a FNM. There you have it. And recruit people for them. They can't do it. They can't do it. Anyway, so that is a brief history of what happened in 2016 when I was a much younger man.
Right.
But thanks be to God, I'm not an independent anymore. I'm an FNA now. And that is where I stand with regards to that. So my advice to the Progressive Liberal Party is do not spend $20 million and not call a plumber on this project.
A plumber will never work in that area for that job. Never.
If you have a drainage problem, who do you call?
They have some guys who actually clean these drains.
And this is exactly your
with
problem.
the Ingersoll Moreau.
This your exact problem.
What those machines are called now? Ingersoll.
I don't care what you call the machine.
Ingersoll.
I'm telling you that if you have a drainage problem, call yourself a plumber. I say don't call the road people. Okay. Spend your $20 million and then watch us have to spend 20 more million. And Lincoln could be the same one saying you all wasted $20 million. When you could call a plumber, ask him to draw you a design for drainage, and then call an engineer to build the design the plumber recommends.
I thought it'd be the engineer first to draw.
These engineers don't know nothing. You see how the engineer them have the two toilet you could hold on together? You and your best friend could go in the Lutra Airport and hold on while you all use the toilet.
That's a male bathroom or a female?
Well, fun fact, they didn't have any gender on it, so it was a non-gender.
How many
specific.
bathrooms in the airport?
Well, there was one bathroom that I saw, and one that I believed was a bathroom, but the door was locked. Yeah.
Because I can't see them just having one bathroom at the airport for male and females to use.
Well, you all could use it side by side.
That doesn't make any sense, no.
Oh boy. Anyway, so hold on before we get to the break. Put up the thing from my page with Michael Pintard. But the one thing I like about when you are absolutely horrible at opposition is even though the opposition forces around you might be horrible, you know that you are horrible at opposition when the opposition opposes your opposing. Isn't that amazing? So there you see the coalition them crying shame on Michael Pintard and saying to him how he sat in the cabinet while the F&M raised the VAT to 12% in 2020. See, they even get the date wrong. That was 2017, man, Charlotte. Oh boy. Anyway, but that he stood there and that he was under pressure and that he helped to break the back of behaviors and one other bunch of things, right? And the only thing Michael Pintard was telling them was, put the Michael Pintard picture up. There's to be a picture attached to the bottom of this, right? Okay, well, the only thing she was trying to tell him was, Michael, you really can't be mad at the PLP for taking the VAT down to 5% if you sat there while you all take it up to 12% and you said nothing, right? Now, she can't get the date right, but that's a pretty decent position. And so I say that no, I didn't win the election of 2017 when they run 2.5 party against me, right? Mm-hmm. And I told Randy Butler to sit that out. I said, Randy, why would you let them nominate you 6 weeks before an election in South Beach? That wouldn't make sense. The constituency has 5,800 people in it. When will you get to them? But he let Brian convince him that somehow he could go and see 5,800 people. And he wasn't even as slim as he is now. Maybe this Randy Butler could pull it off.
But he didn't do it alone, eh? He had support.
I don't know. I wasn't watching him.
And knocked doors. He didn't do it.
I wasn't watching him. What I do know is that Jeffrey Lloyd had an opportunity to speak into the cognitive consciousness of the country for 20 years prior to me. And what I also know is that Cleola led the nicest union. And who ran you more popular than unionists? And so I told Randy the best thing to do would be bow out, and at least the independent would be able to run a reasonable fight.
Yeah, but he won't allow you to make that call, though.
Yeah, I know. And that's why the DNA is nothing more than a fragrance. Because their politics has always been horrible. You know? Okay, let's go to break this. I feel like I finished casing out these people now.
We got a happy 65th birthday greetings going out to Veronica Boat. Greetings coming from my husband Fred, the children and the grandchildren. So happy birthday to Veronica Boat. We also have a happy birthday shout out going to RN, that's Paulette Forbes, registered nurse, I guess that means, celebrating her birthday today, June the 3rd. It's coming from her family and friends in Grand Bahama, Abaco, Nassau, Andros, Florida, and the Turks and Caicos Island. They love you. Enjoy your birthday to the fullest, Paulette Forbes. Latoya and Mia, happy birthday blessings to mother and daughter Latoya and Mia. From all who love you, enjoy your special day. Let's see. Paulette Higgs is also celebrating her birthday today. happy birthday to Paulette Higgs, coming from your husband. Oh, sorry, producer. Well, this is Carmen Roberts Day. Latoya and Mia. You have a photo for Paulette Higgs, right? That's the anniversary lady. Pardon me?
It's an anniversary.
But it's her birthday as well. Yeah. So if you can put up the... Okay, so Carmen Roberts, happy birthday to the loving sister Carmen Roberts from Sandy Point, Abaco. Coming from her mother, Annie Roberts, and the children. So happy birthday to Carmen Roberts. They all love you. Enjoy your day. So we have a birthday, and we also have a wedding anniversary. So Paulette Higgs is celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday to you, Paulette. It's coming from your husband, Brian, and of course, your two sons.
I met these people at the Defense Force Base.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And also, Paula and Brian is celebrating 26 years of marital bliss.
Wow.
So happy birthday to Brian and Paulette Higgs. Today is June the 3rd. 26 years of marital bliss. Listen, Brian and Paulette, we wish you many more wedding anniversaries to come. May God continue to bless this union, bless you both, bless your family. Happy birthday, Paulette, and happy wedding anniversary to both of you, Paulette and Brian Higgs. And Brian, yes, we're going to be down to enjoy all of that succulent... What are we having, Brian? We're having shrimp, lobster, curry chicken, curry mutton.
Wow.
Oh, man. I can't wait, Brian. Your wife knows how to cook. Indeed, she knows how to cook. So we'll be down to enjoy this wedding anniversary with you. All right? All the best to this powerful couple. May God continue to bless you and keep you. Amen. Is that it, Medusa?
So I also want to send a shout out to little Sean Monroe, who I understand swims at the Bahamas Aquatics. There's a national team of some sort, I think, that is going to represent the Bahamas. Well, what's the thing happening this week with all the people who could run and swim and jump? Don't worry about what they named the thing. Just know little Sean can swim like a fish.
Okay.
And I don't suspect that none of the other little children from none of them other little Caribbean countries could be able to beat him. So whenever you see little Sean Monroe name pop up on the TV, beloved, woe could be unto them, because they can't catch this boy. That's what I want to tell you. So little Sean Monroe, you go there and you swim to your heart's content, beloved. And he doesn't miss swimming. He don't miss no swimming. He's go to swimming even when it's raining. I can't figure that out yet. And I tell him, I say, well, I remember when I was a boy, you better try hard, walk to the canal. Other than that, you'll never swim. But his parents have devoted their life to ensuring that this boy, he ain't gonna drown in no hurricane, not him. I tell you, he can swim like you can't believe. And so, Sean Monroe, you go over there and you make sure you bring us back some gold medal. Now, you know, Bahamians are typical Negroes. You know Bahamians? We don't care that you qualify to go. You know, like how Bahamians is get mad that we send a team to the Olympics and they come back with a silver medal, as if all us could actually make it to the Olympics. So Sean, bring us back one gold, because we like to talk about when people get gold medals. So that's your job. You go there, and when you see them little other Caribbean children, you tell them, watch out, because you have to bring back a gold medal. So Sean Monroe, congratulations on being selected for the Bahamas team. What else we got, Spiritual?
That's it.
Yeah? You want to open up the phone line?
No more shout-outs.
No?
No more wedding anniversaries, that is.
And you say, don't guys so Lincoln being no more.
Don't mind,
And I don't guys with Michael today, because then people can say, picking on Michael. Right? Hey, you want to hear something funny? I bet you I can tell you something funny. 2017, when they say I'm win my seat in South Beach, right? Guess who else lose their seat? You guess?
No, I'm replying to the
I asked
whisperer.
him if you could guess.
I'm replying to the whisperer. Come a second.
Whisperer! Who else see him in their seat in 2017? I bet you can't guess. You can't guess it.
Hold on, 2017.
Guess who else didn't win their seat?
To 2022.
Perry Gladstone Christie losses.
Oh yeah, by 6
A
points.
juggernaut, by 4 points. A juggernaut, a political heavyweight.
Yeah, after being in Senate
Fell
40 years.
to 42 years.
How did that happen?
Fell to a novice first timer in the person of Reese Chipman.
How did that happen?
Somebody that would be at the time considered a political featherweight to Perry Gladstone Christie. Huh? A Herculean politician. And you could talk about I run against Tree Party and now I have to admit they gang Christie but 9 of them run against Christie, you know that, right?
Yes,
Christie had the FNM, the DNA, the this one A, another fella A, lone people A was out there against Christie, right?
In Centerville.
Boy, and somehow they pull it off. Chelly Marsh run against Christie. Now Chelly knew that was an exercise in futility, right? But he didn't care. Chelly said he could beat Christie so bad, Christie ain't gonna believe it. Well, he was absolutely correct.
He was on the DNA ticket, right?
Yeah. But there's a fragrance not. Chelly even in the DNA no more. That should tell you how horrible the DNA was. Anyway, let's open up the phone lines, because, they can say I picking on the FNM. Go, we can play my song first. Producer. Because the spiritual advisor has already gone back. You didn't flare up my emotions. I'm emotional now. And you remind me of the time that you all take my $400 for free. Right? But I don't think I can suffer that fate this time. So, Lincoln, dissolve this little COI, roll it into the FNA, and let us work on this social media campaign together so we can do things like get the date right and get the spelling right, and we can do things like actually get the plan right so we could actually sound comprehensive. And the only way you're going to do that is if you stop being a COI and start being an FNA.
Cause we don't play. Come go this way and vote for the FNA. We are the FNA because we don't play. Come go this way and vote for the FNA. Tell them take the FNM, we ain't one of them. And the PLP is a gangster party. The COI is a party made up by just one guy. So if you wanna go all the way, come go with the FNA. We are the FNA because we don't play. Come go this way and vote for the FNA. When they shout PLP, just say no way. You're going with us in the FNA. The FNM done lost their way, and we don't play, we vote in FNA. The COI have a plan, they say, but the best plan is to go with the FNA. We are the FNA because we don't play. Come go this way and vote for the FNA.
The COI have a plan, they say, but the best plan is to do what? The spiritual advisor.
I ain't getting in that, man. We got some callers waiting. 323-7775 is the number to call. You run your own game. I don't know game with you. 698-0775, 698-0775.
You look like an FNA.
Welcome. The Freedom March call. You're live.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, Spiritual Advisor.
Uh-huh.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miller.
Hey, oh, that's me, yeah.
Yeah, good show. But I glad you putting Spiritual Advisor in check. Yeah, Spiritual Advisor. This cowboy.
You was a cowboy?
This cowboy.
Living in the Bahamas? You have any horse?
Did you forget my horse? They thief the horse. I tell you on the American show, they thief the horse.
They thief the horse?
Yeah, they steal the horse, but they still a cowboy hat. Yeah, like I said, Spiritual Advisor. This kind of time, you know this election fever. So everything you talk about is election. So every time you speak of something, it's election. And Mr. Villa.
Hey.
I know you're a very smart man. I listen to you.
Man, you think so?
Yeah, I tell you so.
Thank God for Joycelyn. I get that from Joycelyn.
Man, you sound like my friend, Mr. Rodney Montgomery, man.
Well, praise the Lord.
Hey, serious.
Yeah.
You smart. Yo, I like the show, man. I like the show. Spiritual Advisor.
Yes, sir.
You're a good man too, man. You all be safe.
All right, cowboy.
Good show, man.
Yeah, try to get the horse now.
Take it easy.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, so it's politics time unless when Haitian boat land. If when Haitian boat land now, that'll be the end of this politics stuff.
Jackson Russell, happy birthday to you, bro. We understand today is your birthday. Happy birthday to Jackson Russell. He's a very, very, very good gentleman, I must say, a professional man indeed. Jackson Russell.
Well, if he still showed no people.
Happy birthday to you, Jackson. God bless you, my brother.
And when you outdo me, I will shout out all my friends over at the local community water renewal that I frequent daily. I get a lot of my content from there as well, by the way.
And Jackson, this on me, eh? If you ever need an Escalade for whatever occasion, call Jackson Russell.
Wow.
He has the most beautiful Escalades you can set your eyes on.
Wow.
That on me at Jackson, eh? Happy birthday, Jackson. All the best to you.
So I can finish talking to my friends in the water renewal?
Go ahead.
So all my friends down at my local community water renewal, I want to say a special shout out to you all. And of course, my friends at Island Connect. I come in to see you all in the morning. You know, I have a standing Wednesday appointment. So I'm going to see my friends down at Island Connect tomorrow, and they help me to look this way. Yes, Elsa and Levin is responsible for the rest of it. But outside of that, Island Connect. And to my, the couple, you know, I hear you all ain't reached yet. Mister, and I tell you, go get the woman car clean. You ain't gonna clean this woman. I wish she row you. I hope she come home that day and row till she gets shortness of breath. Because I hear you ain't been to get the car clean, spiritual advisor. And so I want that woman to just row till he go lay on the rooftop of the house.
Ask him if he got more votes than Randy Butler.
You could go on Bahamas local and see. Let's take another phone call. Hello, caller.
Hey.
Hey.
Good afternoon, spiritual advisor. You're the most senior man on the job. And Mr. Miller,
hey,
you are new, vibrant, young blood, bringing a lot of provocative thoughts and ideas and a refreshing new approach to what we're listening to on the radio, on the airwaves today.
Thank you.
So the question is that I think that y'all, the comment, not maybe y'all, but I'm just generally saying this, was a little hard on the Prime Minister, especially Lincoln Bean, about the monies that the Prime Minister was saying that he was going to allocate to the situation in Pinewood Garden.
Mm-hmm.
We must go back to history and remember that it was the Prime Minister, but he wasn't a Prime Minister at the time, who was down there the last time it was flooding in a yellow jacket and boots.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. With a yellow
was
umbrella
on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he has the power, he is contemplating on allocating some funds towards the deal. We know that's going to be a failure, but it is an effort. Lincoln Bain comment about why this and because it's politics makes no sense, because wouldn't a government that is in power do something when the people cry? And it doesn't matter whether it comes in the time of an election soon pending, but the fact that it comes.
You really think so?
Yeah.
You think that's how you reason that
Go
out?
ahead.
That's the way you reason that out, though? Why now? Why now,
though? What should we do?
Why now?
What should we do? Should we wait for another government, a new government to come in power, and then they make a commitment 5 years down the road when we have a guy that may be on his way out, or he may get another term, but he's ready to do something now? What should we do? You tell me. You're a smart man.
And caller, it's $20 million.
Well, I mean,
that's
listen
not enough
to this now.
That's not enough to fix the problem.
$20 million when we look at the fact that the Bahamas is less than the size of Jamaica, 800 square miles. And when you look at 100,000 square miles of ocean water, where are you going to pump the water? Out of the land, back in the ocean?
You pump
Wouldn't it come back to the land?
We get into the break. Thank you so much for the call. You pump it into the sewer system that already exists in Pinewood. Not into a tank, just right into the system, and let water and sewage retreat the water. That hard-working sewer team they got down there could take care of this in one go. Anyway, don't move. Freedom March will be right back. Welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you so much for staying with us through the break. I'm Leland Miller. You're listening to 103.5 The Beat FM, or 224 or 112. And remember, I don't say that for you if you're already listening to me. If you can hear my voice, those tags aren't for you. Get on your device, call your friend, invite them to stop listening to whatever that other thing is they're listening to, and to come over here and listen to us. Why? Because it's fresh smart talk, right? On Freedom March. And of course, we have the spiritual advisor who will bring us Holy Scripture to keep us on the straight and the narrow. Even though he don't memorize none, you know.
I can find it in the Red Bible, though.
Oh, boy.
And when I do find it, it's
Thy
accurate.
word, O Lord, have I hid in my heart.
Right. And
Why
that's,
ain't that,
yeah, so
why
I don't
ain't
sin
that
against
hidden
you.
in your heart?
Right. Well, what should be hidden in your heart is to make sure you don't offend God. But the stories and the details, you can always go back to the Bible and reference them. But
I like
the
to hide
basic
them in my
principles, basic principles, like when you're going over sore fans and you had a couple drinks, you drop sore fans home. You don't carry sore fans with you.
Home is where the heart is.
All right.
And you know where my heart is?
Now you see the difference, right? It is what it is.
Ah, boy. Well, producer, let me know whenever you get that clip ready, because I actually, before I leave here today, see, spiritual advisor, and to the people who could say they was on the phone line, right? You know why I become disconcerted with them? Because when I open up the phone lines 45 minutes ahead of time, 35 minutes ahead of time, like today, 18 minutes ahead of time, never one time do they say,
You open the lines early.
Line early. We
Thank you so much,
appreciate
Fred.
you so much. You're such a wonderful host. Oh, no. But you let them have to wait 2 minutes on that phone, and all of a sudden, Voldemort, they won't cuss me out, right? So
they're waiting now.
That's fine. They call a talk show. I talking. So anyway, let's go to the phone line. Whenever you get the production ready, let me know. Let's go to the phone line, though. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to Freedom March.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miller, and good afternoon, Spiritual Advisor. It's your girl, Tanya, coming to you live from Shop Smart Department Store, your miracle right here on Mackie, where we say we're here for you for whatever season of your life and for everyday living. Yes, Shop Smart and the graduation season is finally here. Whether it's kindergarten or college, we've got beautiful ready-made graduation packets that'll make your grad feel special without you having to lift a finger. You can start with our $10 basket. It comes with a keepsake picture box frame, candy, a sweet little teddy bear, and of course, a balloon to top it all off. Want to step it up a bit? Our $22 package is packed with goodies. A singing, dancing teddy bear, a keepsake box, candy, pencil case, water bottle, pens, pencils, eraser, the whole work. It's fun, festive, and affordable. And if you really want to wow your grads, go for a $44 deluxe basket. That one includes jewelry, candles, mug with inspiration message, a picture frame, signs, candy, a teddy bear. It's the full celebration in a basket. Short, smart, a miracle on Maki. Now, if you really want to go all out, check out our balloon packages. We've got helium and fall balloon packages starting at just $39. Trust me, it'll take your grad day to the next level. The best part, everything is pre-made and ready for pickup. No fuss, no stress, just grab and go. Come on down to Shop Smart and let us help you celebrate your graduate in style. I'd love to see you. And guys, remember to shop early, to shop often, and to shop smart. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much, Tanya. You see how you make me forget Tanya was the person on the phone?
Tanya.
Ah, boy. Thank you very much, Tanya. And to my Addie, my beloved Addie, who's listening to me. Addie, hello. You know I have plenty Addie. My granddaddy got 29 children on one side and 18 children on the next side. All I have is Auntie. We got the voice note from Minister Says? Okay, well, let's take a phone line while we wait on that, eh?
323-7775. Welcome to Freedom March. Call you live.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hey.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Miller.
Present.
I've been in Pinewood now for 33 years.
Mm-hmm.
When Linden was defeated in 92,
mm-hmm.
Pinewood Garden Roads was nothing but white, unpaved, Let them pay every road in this consistency and loss. All right? So Pinewood Gardens will never be the way it is. I don't care if it's PLP or FNM they send you, unless somebody who lives in this area, who knows and feels what goes on in this area, is a representative. Then will Pinewood Garden get its full 100% what is needed. I don't care who they send. Unless that person live in this area, this Pinewood Garden will never get what is deserved. Now, remember now, early part of this year, when the government first come to power, they had $13 million, they say, was allocated to dig some deep wells in Pinewood Garden.
Right.
Never happened. Now you say you got $20 million? Stop fooling us, man. We are not for this foolishness. Stop it. Stop bamboozling us, man. And stop trying to win the people vote on foolishness and know that is a lie. Like I say, this area will never be better until they run somebody, be it PLP or FNM, somebody who live here. He who feels it knows it all.
Thank you so much.
Well, by that estimation, then they should just vote for Lincoln, because Lincoln said he lived there.
Lincoln don't live here. Lincoln used to live here.
Well, he come through the water.
It's upset. 323-7775.
Oh, boy.
Welcome to Freedom March Call You Live.
A very pleasant good afternoon to both of you.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes. First, I want to give my condolences to the hands of the persons who succumbed to homicide this week. And may their soul rest in peace. And I'll be asking God blessings upon all of them. Secondly, I want to also compliment the commissioner and her team and the whole entire police force on a job well done. I think the culprit has been caught. And they, when the police do good, they need to be saluted on a job well done. Mr. Miller, I've known your family from a boy. I used to live in Pinedale, and I know your siblings from an early age. You now live in South Beach, do you?
Correct.
Do you pass the police station, sir?
Every day.
You pass the police station every day. You see that light and that lamp pole right in front of the police station. Do you think anyone else see that?
You mean the one with tiptoeing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, didn't they just change it about 9 months ago, and someone just knocked it back down about 3 months ago, and then they straightened it up, and then someone knocked it down about 3 weeks ago?
Do you think anyone like yourself, myself, and Ministry of Work see that is not a good look there?
You're talking about the one with the cameras on it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I sound like I passing it every day?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I don't like to talk their business, but I've told them the problem with that road is they need to move that big stupid slab of cement out the road. Think about this, right? They build a whole of Prince Charles. They ain't put a stitch of cement in the road. You agree?
Yes, sir.
You got 2 high-speed lanes driving in opposite directions down about 4 miles of road maybe without a stitch of cement between it, right?
Yes, sir.
But somehow we need 10 yards of cement from the corner there right to Tingham. I've actually told them they need to block off that corner where Porky's is and let people have to go through Bamboo Town and come around. But they ain't listen to me. I've also told them to take up this bunch of cement on the road. But they ain't listen to me then either. So, engineers build that. And that's what spiritual advisors say. Give it to the engineers. This is exactly what happens when you have fellas who have only done these things in a classroom.
When you ran, the last time you ran, I wanted to vote for you. And for some reason, I did not vote for you.
You probably had the same problem my friend Jock say he had. Jock
Yes,
say he gone in the booth. Let me tell you this story. I have a friend by the name of Jock. Jock said he went in the booth to go vote against the party that he was going to vote for. He said, but when he ended up in the box, he don't know what happened. He blinked and the pencil vote. And the next thing you know, he did already vote for the party he been voting for all his life. So maybe the same thing happened to you.
Mr. Miller, have you ever counted the amount of liquor store from East Street heading straight out to your homestead? Have you ever counted them to see how many is now on East Street Road?
And have protested them because 80-odd% of them are Chinese.
There's a new one. There's a new liquor store And the good Mr. Angliston, who often called, I know that he has some deficiencies, but someone told him that one now is open up. One is on the north side of Lincoln Boulevard, and one is on the south side. Do anyone care? How do these persons get licensed to open up?
Because when the organs,
I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you. When the organs of state permit themselves to be fondled by men with enough money to corrupt, we end up with a corrupted system. That's what happens. Yeah.
Welcome to Freedom March Call. You're live.
Hello.
Hey.
S.A. Lavon.
Hey, Papa.
Hey. Thanks for opening the lines early.
Thank you very much, man, Papa. Papa, this is why you always had a special place in my heart, you know.
And we appreciate you, and we think you're one of the best we get around now. And I mean that. I wanted to say, the man cowboys say, they steal the horse, but he still get his hat.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to point out to you actually what you all think if you all get a chance to see it in the Guardian or the Tribune today. I believe they reported something what was on Eyewitness News, must be social media, where His Excellency was suggesting, and now I'm just paraphrasing, that we maybe give the politicians or the member of parliaments, I think he's talking about the cabinet ministers, them, a raise because they leave in their profession, where they're making a lot of money and coming into this thing, the politics, and making less money. And I say to that, okay, I could be fair. Let's give them the raise. Let's give the cabinet ministers them 50%, and let's give the members of parliament them $1. Listen, on a serious note, right? What I think should be suggested that we get some allocate funds to give the whistleblowers who work in the government agency to expose when they find out people doing things them wrong. Politicians or whosoever signing things who ain't supposed to be signing things them. Remember the road works are the $180-something million, maybe what they take back, and I don't know what they're doing with it. Then you remember the Maury deal in Exoma or something like that. I just feel like we need to pay attention to the right things. I know we like to give the politicians and they're making a sacrifice, but nobody put no gun to their head to come to serve. And I don't know if that can make you serve better if we pay you more. I feel like people like police officers, defense force officers, we need to give them some incentive so when they come across these drug lords, these bunch of guns, these drug dealers, that they don't give them some incentive like how they do around the world, that we pay them something, millions of dollars, whatever, so they don't...
But your argument, Papa, no one put a gun to the police officer head or the defense
I
officer
agree with that, too.
either.
But I say, listen to me, just like they do in some parts of the world, right? And I guess some politicians, they're making more, right? Why I said about the politicians is because just to disclose, they ain't giving us value for money. Why we could give them a raise? They even ain't disclosing they ain't doing the things what they supposed to do.
To stop them from cutting deals, Papa.
Well, Papa, I
remember the Prime Minister said that when he was the chairman of National Insurance, said if we give them a raise, that'll discourage them from
cutting
breaking
deals,
the law
yeah.
or stealing.
Now you ask me a question. You can hang up so I can answer you.
Yeah. What I tell you about is Excellency.
Yeah.
Sabas.
So this is how you know I don't lie, right? Because all throughout the day, thank you, Papa. You can hang up on him. All throughout the day, as I was prepping this show, I did every single thing in my power to ignore this. And here's how you know I don't tell lies and that I am a fair man. My position on it is simply someone should hide Mr. Bastian's phone for the next 2 weeks because this phone seemed to be getting him in trouble for the last 1 week. And as somebody that is as versed in cyber technology as he is, I feel like he understands how instant the consequences of social media are or is, and I think they should hide his phone. That's very simple. Why? I hear his argument on whether or not they ought to have a raise. I think that while it is an interesting position, it is fundamentally flawed. Firstly, the population of Singapore is 5 million. That's about 500 times the amount of people, or 5 times, don't quote me with mathematic numbers, the population of the Bahamas. Secondly, the President of the United States of America, who sits over a population that is 336 million people, only makes $400,000 a year with a $60,000 annual allowance, right? So he talked about people and the amount of people they have under their employ. Well, the U.S. government employs 20.2 million people. The public service of the Bahamas, I think, employs somewhere like 27,000 people or there's about. And so when you consider the argument, it's apples and oranges. If you consider what Bahamian politicians make against their CARICOM counterparts, they're quite handsomely paid. Now, if you try to compare that to what Singaporean politicians are paid, American politicians are paid, European politicians are paid, it may look like peanuts. Now, do I agree that they need a raise? Absolutely. Do I think that it should be $200,000? I think you'd have to make the case for that. Why don't I think it ought to be $200,000? It's because largely in the Bahamas, the position of minister of anything is one big cabinet rubber stamp. And there are executive officers in these ministries that are actually doing the work. But the pomp and pageantry and prestige is tied to the position of cabinet minister. Because you could be an executive chairman and make either the same amount of money or more. So what we have to do now is shrink the ministerial portfolios so you only have 10, 11, 13 of them at the max, branch government services into authorities, boards, and corporations, hire more executive chairmen, pay them $100,000, and then you're able to justify paying the minister $110,000 because naturally he would be higher in the hierarchy than the executive chairman. That's the way I would do it if I were prime minister. And besides, I long for the day that we do away with the financial officer in government because I think that doesn't, do what they think it does. I think it brings government to a screeching halt. I think all of the problems government have with contractors, etc., is because of that one office. And it is my position that if we took that route, right, maybe we would be able to reach the same end that Mr. Bastian suggests. But I saw him got in problems last week for the college comment. I see they kill him in social media. Then, because this happens to me in my life, so a fan gets on the phone and say, baby, take that foolishness off the internet. So he makes another post to fix it. And then that doesn't really fix it. And then I noticed that both of them went missing off the internet. I suspect so our fans must have take the phone and take them down. I don't know. I'm just, this is a hyperbolic scenario. And then he comes out with something written in the newspaper today that has a bit more thought, a bit more. And it's funny because he actually talked about the effect of social media and its influences and how it will impact the new world. But his article today is in print media. Isn't that interesting?
We got 3 callers waiting. Welcome to
Freedom. What I had to say.
Yeah, we listened to you.
Oh boy. Go on.
Welcome to Freedom March Call. You're live.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, Jeff.
How you doing?
You talk too much, right?
Okay, hang up on him because I ain't gonna let you do that. And you call, hold on, hang up on him. Let me tell you why. You can't call a talk show and then tell the host of the talk show he talks too much. It is a talk show. If this was Rachel Maddow's show, Rachel has talked for 40 minutes. They don't even let you call into that show. Let's not do Rachel Maddow because that's America. If you watch Beyond the Headline, they just talk for 40 minutes down there too. And no one is allowed to call in. So let's try another caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to Freedom March.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I heard you mention Mr. Christie a little earlier from 2017.
Yeah, he lost his seat in 2017.
And the reason he did so was when you fly up in the face of God, that's what happens to you. He told the people, you could go to God, but you still got to come to me. So God found 4 votes to get him out of the picture. Also, yesterday I heard you mention the woman them who can't find no good man.
That's what the woman said in the article.
Yeah, tell her, look in the mirror and see why she can't find a good man.
What?
Y'all have a good evening.
Oh, boy.
All right, take your caller.
Oh, boy.
Welcome to Freedom March Call. You're live.
Hey, spiritual advisor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Levan.
Hey, buddy.
I was going to sit this one out this afternoon, but I was called into this. I don't know if y'all listen to a show in the daytime. They
referred to me as Mr. Angleston.
Yeah,
On the show in
you've
the
been on all the
daytime.
talk shows, man.
Yeah, but what I want Dr. P to know, those Chinese, those liquor stores that are now being opened up in Angleston and in the inner city, those Chinese they just didn't get those licenses. They are Bahamian people who rent the Chinese their license. Okay? All the Chinese did is pay up the back pay or whatever money they had owed on the license. And that is how now they check the amount of Chinese liquor stores that are open now and found out how much of those Chinese were just given a license. Their Bahamian license that they're using. The Bahamian people are selling the sailboat cheap.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Angleston. I want to get some other calls in, but I am advised by good sources. I tell you, my sources sit so close. My source is a fly in a wall in a room with no light that listens to the vibration of the air-conditioned duct. That's where my information has come from. And he sits in the room, and as the air-conditioned duct vibrates, he's able to tell me that I am being advised that amendments are being made in this budget cycle to prevent the proliferation of Chinese liquor stores that we see. Because I told you before, I oppose them. And I remember back in the day when middle-class, middle-income earning Bahamians like Gully, my daddy's lifelong friend, the Camps, and they became very prominent businessmen off the liquor business. Today, the entire thing is saturated by paying them, and I don't like that. Let's take another phone call. Hello, caller. Welcome to Freedom March. Oh, and to Mrs. Bastian. You got to send Negroes to jail. All of these stopgaps we put in government to prevent people from thieving retards government. And if you retard government, you will end up with a retarded government. Here's how you fast track it. If you thief the government money as an executive officer, we're going to build a court specifically for that. And you are going to go to the calaboose. That's how you fix it. Next caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to Freedom March. All of a sudden, they won't call no more.
Hello?
Hey.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Special Advisor, Mr. Miller.
Yes, sir.
Those politicians don't need no raise. For far too long in this country, you have public service been living off the wages that they were receiving at the end of the month. And you have many individuals in this country who don't make a quarter of what these politicians make, and they making it work. So they don't need no raise.
I agree
If you
with
can't
you.
do it for the bulk of the people, they don't need it.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
All right.
caller.
We got a call waiting on the line. I ain't getting my Alfred Says clip today. Alfred Says I play in this clip tomorrow because I don't know when you all had this epiphany that coconuts are so special. When I said let's nationalize, I went to Elutra. The coconut them rotting on the tree.
Yeah,
No one
quite a bit
picking
of
these
coconut,
coconuts. Oh boy. Hello caller, welcome to Freedom March.
Levan and Special Advisor, how
Hey
you
Charles.
doing?
All is well.
Listen, you show a video. I'm an advocate for the disabled. Peter Elmafty. You show a video down in Elutra. And I was wondering if that airport bathroom was accessible. When it comes to the disabled travel and family, we are the lowest because we don't have accessibility. I wonder if you could send that to the Ministry of Social Service and the disabled unit there to show them they don't go around the Bahamas expecting these bathrooms in public buildings and private buildings to make sure they're accessible. And that's our downfall. And I hope the minister told them to know that folks with disability, with their family travel, they got money. They ain't begging to travel. But the problem is the Bahamas is the lowest according to the United Nations because we are not disabled friendly.
Well, I can tell you this. Thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you.
I can tell you this. There is the Disabled Act. You could check it. All the specs are there, what you should do. I could get to Alfred Says. Let's go to Alfred Says. Alfred Says, when you all discover this, tell me. Listen, let's play the clip from Alfred Says, please.
The coconut is part of our culture. It is part of our food culture. We make craft, and of course we make some fantastic tropical drinks with the coconut. And with the innovation and technology that we see here that is which have been developed at the Coconut Research Institute. It is a perfect partnership. What we see here and what this partnership can give us is an opportunity to limit the number of import. And that money from import substitution could be applied for education, for health, and for other development needs. With respect to the importance of sovereignty, non-interference, and the independence of member countries of...
I don't think you had to go all the way to China to figure that out. Kermit the Frog tell you on Sesame Street, all he was a frog in the coconut tree, that the coconuts was important. We have coconuts dying of old age. Let's just nationalize them. Ah, boy. Anyway, Spiritual Advisor, that's the show for today. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Tomorrow, if the Lord's will.
Right here on Freedom March.